Our trip to Epcot starts on the Skyliner because we're coming from Hollywood Studios. So watch that video if you haven't. But first we'll go to Caribbean Beach where the hub is. That's actually where we're staying, although we're not going to our room right now. So we're going to Caribbean Beach where the hub is, and then we have to switch over to the other line and head over to Epcot. So that'll take us through the Riviera Resort where you take a left-hand turn, or 90 degree, and then you take another 90 degree to go to Epcot. And that'll be fun. So come and join us at Epcot for the last part of our Disney part of the trip. Tomorrow will be a Universal day, and that will be a separate video.
Thank you.
The line wasn't moving just a second ago, but it just started to move again. So see those yellow buildings in the back there? You might not be able to see them very easily now that we're blocking the way. You can see them over there. Those are where we're staying. Not the exact building, but like one behind that. And that's how close we are to the hub here to get around. And that's one of the reasons why it's totally worth it staying at Caribbean Beach, because it is close to a couple of Skyliners depending on where you are. Plus it's a moderate resort, so it's nicer than a value resort. Don't get me wrong, we've stayed at Pop Century before and we loved it, but there's a lot of people there, and therefore the lines are longer to get onto the Skyliner because there's more people waiting for it. It's just numbers.
So what you're looking at here is the small island that connects the two halves of Caribbean Beach together. Over there should be Port Royale, the entrance to Caribbean Beach.
That's Port Royale straight ahead.
Oh,
where the
straight
pool
ahead,
is.
okay.
Yeah.
And then that's the small little island that we walked across, especially over Christmas time, quite a few times to get to our section of Aruba.
Because we were staying over here.
We were staying on this end, next to the Riviera, which you can see over there to the right. We were staying over here in the Aruba section. Now we're pretty much at the opposite end of this side of the river in Jamaica, near the main actual part of the gondolas, the Skyliner. We're heading into...
In just a minute, we will be arriving
the
at
smaller
Disney
section
Riviera Resort,
of the Riviera
Resort
gondola
that celebrates
that also
the
works with
relaxing
part
seaports
of
and romantic
Caribbean
vistas
Resort.
of Europe's Mediterranean coast.
You know, as much as I love the Skyliner, one thing I don't like about it is that sometimes it feels like they just don't shut up.
I would agree with that
There's
statement.
always an announcement going, so you can't just enjoy the ride.
So you can get a sense of it behind us too. Hop over here a little bit. There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Disney's Riviera Resort. If this is your final
gorgeous
destination,
resort, the Caribbean
please
Resort,
prepare to
Caribbean Beach.
disembark.
We
If you are
didn't use the
traveling
pool,
to
but we
Epcot
really do
today,
enjoy it.
please remain seated.
We are coming into Epcot at a very strange time. And what I mean by very strange time is that there's absolutely no festival going on whatsoever right now. There's 4 festivals that happen at Epcot. The first one is the art one, Festival of the Arts. The second one is Flower and Garden. The third one is Food and Wine. And the last one is Festival of the Holidays. And they run quite a bit through the year. So there's only a few months where there isn't a festival going on. So there's probably not going to be any booths or anything that there normally are when we come here. So it's just your normal typical Epcot day without any of the festival stuff happening. And honestly, we haven't seen that in a really long time. So let's see what it looks like. When you come in on the Skyliner, you come in through the International Gateway and you have a choice to go left or right. And if you go left, then you head into England, which is right ahead here. And oh, they have some of the topiaries up for their next festival coming, which is only in like a couple weeks. So we've got a Captain Hook and a Peter Pan and some ibises. Ibis are those. I love these topiaries. Very nice. We keep talking about going to the fish shop sometime to get fish and chips. I'm not really a fish person, but I think the deep fried battered fish might be okay, and I want to try it sometime. But today's not the day because we have a dinner in about 3 hours. We're going to Teppan Edo, which is in Japan. It's the one where they make the food in front of you, and we could only get a early reservation this time around. But they have shops back here. This is a tea shop. Twinings. It's Twinings, right? Twinnings or Twinings. I think it's Twinings. And then there's a sportsman shop over here. and shops in the back. Actually, I'm not sure those are open because there's a table in front of that one, so these might not be open. They're very small shops, so maybe they're worried about the social distancing. Let's go into the tea shop where they have lots of different kinds of teas. And more over here. Like these multi-packs you can get with all the individual servings. Food grade. What are these? Matcha, ginseng, detox, lady gray tea, gunpowder greens. Interesting. I've never seen these. English breakfast. I'm aware of that one. Regular Earl Grey, Irish breakfast, and then there's lots of tea accoutrement like mugs. I like those mugs. Union Jack fleece blanket. Oh yeah, so this kind of merchandise here would normally be across the way. Just generic England merchandise, London merchandise. But I don't think those shops are open. So they have everything over here. I do loves me some topiaries, and there's a Kermit the Frog. I love how the entire thing, this entire topiary is made of some kind of wood. Oh, there's a skink on the basket. I don't know if you can see that. He's all moss and plants, and then there's wooden tires and a wooden chain, quote unquote, for the bike, wooden pedals. And over here is Miss Piggy, just right in the next little
For the health and
planter.
safety of everyone, face coverings must fully cover your nose and mouth and be worn at all times.
I love how they use different flowers for different parts of her, like her face and legs are a different kind of clover looking flower than her giraffe, so there's a distinction there.
Cover your mouth and nose
And,
with comfortable sneezing and maintain
Yeah, and the gloves have some sort of purplish moss on them. Those are probably painted, but it is still moss. Like everything is living. Although there might be a frame underneath that the plants have been put to. I don't think it's like from the ground up. But I think topiary work is very awesome. And there's not enough topiaries in my life. As I mentioned, we came in through England, which is from that way. England and then Canada. And then you come to this area here, where there's a couple of shops, like on each side. There's a shop there and a shop there. I think mostly a lot of the same merchandise, but I've never really compared the two. And if we kept going that way, we'd go to Mexico, which we're gonna do later. But instead, we're gonna walk back over here into Future World. And particularly over there, where Soarin is, maybe get a little bit of air conditioning. That's Test Track over there. And that kind of lighter color, I know it's interesting because it's mostly sky blue, but there is a lighter blue under the sky there. That's the ride that will eventually be the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster.
Yeah, I forget what it's called.
And I just love the flower tapestry there. I think it's very pretty. We think it's part of Flower and Garden. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's part of Flower and Garden. And then we got the monorail here, which my understanding is they're not running the monorail to Epcot right now. And the reason is because the way the monorail is set up at most places, or at least how to get on the monorail, there's not enough space for people to be in both lines. So the monorail waiting line is overflow for the Magic Kingdom monorail. And the ones still go through the resorts, but it doesn't come over here. And that makes monorail resorts less appealing because you can only get to Magic Kingdom. You can't get to Epcot the same way.
So we decided against the Contemporary for just that reason.
It's one of the reasons why we had an opportunity to stay at the Contemporary, and we decided not to because we've always wanted to stay in one of the monorail resorts. But if it's only going to one place, it's not worth it to us, at least. I mean, there are other benefits, but getting around is a huge, big deal to us. It informs which ones we choose. So you can see here, if you went this way, park exit, that way, park exit, and then all the different rides But in this middle part here, they're doing all this refurbishment. You can see that that building has been torn down a little bit. A lot of these buildings have been torn down. They're refurbishing the whole thing for the upcoming anniversary of Epcot.
What was the cost?
And
$2 billion?
I don't know. It's in the $1 billion of refurbishment. And
Needed it. Epcot needed it.
it's a closer look at the flowers. So beautiful. And they have a whole team of gardeners and horticulturalists that design and implement these. This is like the flower tapestry is what they call it, I think. Plus, you know me, I love water features, so I really like that. Needs a fountain right there, though. And Journey into Imagination with Figment is straight over there. We did that on our last trip. We only need to do that like every third or fourth trip because it's yeah, Josh calls it Nightmare Fuel. It's fun, but sort of horrifying in a way. I've never seen this before. Soarin has sent us outside for the part of the ride, which takes us into a backstage area. That's interesting. And Josh and I were complaining that, and Josh said, this is not what I wanted for this ride. We wanted some air conditioning standing in line. He's like, this is the exact opposite of what I wanted for this ride. Back outside. It's not a long part, but it's long enough that we are frustrated about it, but still, it'll be fine, right? I love looking at backstage stuff. It's really cool to see how the magic works. They extended the line again, so now we're even further backstage, but you can see all these lines over there, how much further this could get. Wow. They do a really good job of, I mean, actually in this trip versus all our other ones, they've done a really good job of making it so that the lines don't gather outside in front of the ride itself. And they had to do backstage stuff by doing that. So this is our first time ever having to do something like this. It's, I mean, today, because we also did this in Hollywood Studios. You'll see it in the old video when we were standing for the Millennium Falcon ride. But we've never had to do it here. We've never been backstage. It's kind of neat.
When the doors to your flight open, please take a seat and store all carry-on items in the underseat compartment. This includes cameras, purses, hats, and of course, these little dudes.
I know you can only see two because we're in the second row, but there were 3 rows. So there's 3 bays, A, B, and C, and then 3 rows in each bay. And right now they're distancing by having some, putting groups separately from each other, and then there's barriers here, as you can see. What will happen is these will all fly forward, and then you can see there's a screen there that's all blue right now. And no matter where you're sitting, it looks like you're sort of in the middle of the screen because it's curved in a sort of concave way.
Hey, row 1.
We're flying forward. Animals in this are computer generated, and some of the people, I think most of the people, like I don't think those people are real. And I think this whole scene is fake. the time for Soarin said 40 minutes. And I checked my watch and it really was about 40 minutes, but boy, did it feel longer. As we were standing in that line, I kept getting wound around. And then we felt like we stood a lot and moved a little. But anyway, it was right around 40 minutes. We are now heading to Spaceship Earth, which is the big golf ball in the front of the park. So we can listen to Dame Judi Dench give us a tour of human communications throughout history.
During your slow
Look, it's us.
turn, your time machine will slowly
I know you can't see me very well, but Judi Dench narrates this, but she's really hard to hear in the her narration is really hard to hear in the video. So I'll narrate a little bit as we go along and see some scenes. This scene's talking about recording knowledge on cave walls, but the problem was when we moved, the walls stayed there. And then we move forward to Egypt, where somebody is pounding reeds into papyrus, and a horrible font is forever born. Actually, paper is the big deal. Essentially, this is about the fact that now we had a way to write things down on something we could take with us. I love the costumes. And now each civilization has its own form of writing, but how can they trade with each other? So the Phoenicians came up with the ABCs, and that's where the term phonetic comes from. If you know your ABCs, thank the Phoenicians. This is about the ancient Greeks coming up essentially with mathematics. So if you hate your math classes, thank the Greeks. And then the Romans created a series of roads, which of course made knowledge spread because it was easier to get around. But Rome falls and the Library of Alexandria is burned. And I know you can't smell this because it's video, but it smells like wood burning smoke in here. I love that smell, actually. But thankfully, there are copies of some of the books in the libraries of the East. So not all of the knowledge is lost because of those copies. And here we have monks essentially copying manuscripts, so knowledge was spread further. And even better though, somebody invented the printing press. And now books can be mass produced and spread everywhere, which sparks the birth of the Renaissance. So now knowledge travels across the globe, and people toil away with their Renaissance style art and sculpture and music. And then he paints the top of the 16th chapel. There were 15 before this. I'm kidding. Sistine Chapel. And then once the printing press is invented, of course it gets refined, and pretty soon you can have a paper every day. This one's talking about how the Civil War is over. And there's, I can't tell if you can see a kid over there. He's like, extra, extra. And then of course, telegraph then gets invented.
To the Pacific.
And over wires, I'm not sure if you can see the wires up there. Now people can send messages, and then there's a boom, so now phone messages are a thing.
Number please.
And we learned how to start broadcasting over the radio. And movies start happening. I guess talkies, actually, because that's a talkie over there. And then boom, television happens. And in 1969, people can watch the first moon landing. And then of course we've got the burst of the computer that take up an entire room, and a lady in badass yellow tights. I love this room because it reminds me of every 70s TV show where they had a sophisticated computer. The lights would just blink on like this, but it looks super sophisticated. Love how this looks like a garage. What they talk about is how, you know, computers used to be huge and took up a whole room until somebody developed the personal computer from their garage. And then you come to this scene here, which you're pretty much at the top of the golf ball dome. I know you can't see this, but behind the projections, you can actually see the shape of the dome outside. Josh and I were speculating that when they redo this, they'll probably add a section about cell phones, because I think at the time this was redone, and don't quote me on this, but cell phones was an emerging technology and didn't become the thing that it is now.
Attention travelers.
One of my favorite things about this ride is when you're coming back down, you are going backwards through this sort of star field. I think it's just a few lights and lots of mirrors. And then at the end of it, you get to make choices to sort of customize what you want your future to look like. Let's see, I'm going to talk about how do I want to work in the future? Where would I like to work? I want to work in the city. And my work is the energy of an office. Let's do that. Where do you get your best ideas? Let's do group brainstorming. What's in your bag? Everything I might want, only what I need. Let's go with only what I need. Technically, I work to live, but I'm gonna choose the opposite of that. See what I get. I live to work. How do I want to travel? Car that drives itself? Hover train. Ooh, car that drives itself. Hey, those are coming up, right?
Or should I say, your future? In the future, the city will be a great place to work. Innovative office buildings will be media-rich environments, outfitted with global networking and the latest digital tools to turn your dreams into reality. Need to be somewhere? No problem. Just pack up and go. You'll be working because your car drives itself. Nordstrom is always available for brainstorming, even while you commute. Thanks to super high-speed networks that turn your vehicle into a mobile office. Even board meetings can be such a blast. Time to relax. When you work, you can keep an eye on your projects with digital display glasses to bring you messages and news. Instead, it looks like it's going to be a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
Hey, we can do most of that stuff now. That's not even the future.
Or should I say the beginning?
Usually they have your own faces. They take your picture as you go up, but I think with the masks on, it gets confused a lot. So rather than having your faces there, they have generic cartoon faces. This is the new fountain that they just put up, I don't know, just a few weeks ago. It used to be this area had what were called the tombstones. They were these long pieces of stone, and on them were pictures. The pictures were made of metal of people. And I'm not sure how people submitted their pictures. There must have been a way to do that. It was before my time here, but it had pictures of people, and they took up this whole front space here with a walkway in the middle. And they've since replaced it with this really cool sort of glass looking, I'm sure it's not glass, maybe it is, fountain. And it lights up with different colors at night. So it's very pretty. Plus, you know me, I like water features. So I love the way that the water just sort of rolls off of this. So it's not a fountain per se, even though it is a fountain. Anyway, I wanted to show that to you because I think it's beautiful. We're on our way to the Japan Pavilion now, so we're heading back to the World Showcase for our reservation at Teppan Edo. And I wanted to tell you a story about the last time we were at Teppan Edo. So Teppan Edo is, hibachi, they make it in front of you, teppanyaki. And you can have chicken or steak or beef, various proteins, along with vegetables and such. I'll video some of that. But if you've seen some of my older videos, you've probably seen it too. Anyway, so we were there, and there was this other family sitting at the table. It's still social distance, and there are barriers up, but you are not by yourself. There are usually other families there. And we ordered the steak and shrimp. Usually we would get the chicken and shrimp, but a couple times ago we went, these ladies we saw had the most amazing looking steak. they had upgraded the steak to the filet mignon, and it just looked amazing. And so we decided this time to get it. The family we were with, let me preface this a little by saying this is gonna make us sound kind of snobbish, but you may feel exactly the same way. Maybe not snobby, but preferential, yeah. So, but you may feel the same way. Feel free to comment below about how you feel. But, so they also ordered steak with theirs, and they also upgraded to the filet. So both Josh and I did, and they did. And we ordered ours medium rare, because with filet, that's how we like to have ours.
That's how I like all my steaks.
Yeah, that's how I like all my steaks, medium rare. Took me a long time to get there.
Yeah,
I grew up as a well done person. So they ordered these fillets, well done. And both Josh and I were like, oh no, really?
You're
Like,
monsters.
you're monsters. You're just hurting it. No, no.
Why spend the extra
Yeah,
money?
why just spend the extra money if you're just gonna cook it well done? So anyway, that's my story. They ordered it well done, and the whole dinner we were cringing at that. I mean, they seemed to really enjoy it though, so maybe they knew something we don't. But anyway, we thought it was funny. And we told our friends about it, and you know, I mean, everybody likes their steak the way they like it, and so, you know, if they want to pay extra and get it well done, good for them.
Get what you want.
You should get what you want. But
For me,
we just thought, no, it's filet. You're just hurting it. Please stop.
buy a regular steak.
Here's the Canada Pavilion. You can walk up those stairs. There's a shop there, and if you continue back there, there's a movie here, Canada Far and Wide, that has Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara as the hosts of it. It used to be Martin Short. Martin Short was the host of it, because they're all Canadian, and so it's worth seeing. I thought the Martin Short one was better just because it was funnier. I thought with Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy, who are comedians, that they'd give them more funny things to do or say, but they really didn't. And you only hear their voices, you don't see them, they're not acting in it. But otherwise, there's really not much there. The Canada Pavilion does have a restaurant called Le Cellier, the Cellar, which is a steak house. And people really like it. And we went there once and it was fine. But I've had better steak in Disney World. But I'm not really a fancy steak guy, so I don't need $50 steak. And then that walked you back into England, which you saw earlier in the video. We are going back this way through, instead of the other way around, because we only have about 20 more minutes to get to our reservation. And this is the shorter way, only not by much, because America's in the middle and Japan is right next to it on this side. But more importantly, we want to spend time in those other ones. Like, we could make it if we went that way, but we'd have to not breeze through, we'd have to speed through, thank you Josh, the other pavilions to get there. And we want to take our time and walk around. So we decided to go back this way, since we've already been through, I should say, Canada and England. Oh, look, some more topiaries. There's Pooh and Rabbit. Oh, and Tigger and Eeyore and Piglet over there. Nice. I'm surprised there's so many out. I mean, I know Flower and Gordon comes... Oh, is it next week? Yeah, March 3rd. Okay.
That's literally Wednesday.
That's next week. So,
It's 5 days away.
yeah, 5 days away. So I guess they're really getting it ramped up. Back to the fish and chip shop. You can see the Eiffel Tower over there just a little bit. And it's definitely picking up here. I think a lot of people, when the park hop happens, come here or Magic Kingdom because they're always open later. The other two parks, like Animal Kingdom, closes at something like 5, and Hollywood Studios closes at like 6 or 7, and Magic Kingdom will be open till 9. This place is open till 9. And so this is where people who can park hop to. So it gets busier in the afternoons, and that's okay. This is the International Gateway. This is where we came in from the gondola, the Skyliner. And now we're going to the right, which takes us into France. We have these beautiful pink trees. Are those cherry blossoms? I'm not good at identifying trees, but they have that pink cherry blossom look. But I identify. They may or may not be, but the petals have been falling, and it's been very pretty. They're going to be opening a new ride back there. That's the Ratatouille ride. And you can head back to that area that wasn't available prior, but you can't go all the way back into the ride area. But you can walk back there, which leads to sort of a bathroom right now. But I like how as you move through the countries, the music changes to what's appropriate for that country. And the lighting actually changes too. Like we've noticed at night when we come through France, it has sort of a pinkish light, like La Vie en Rose, you know, looking at life through rose-colored glasses. And there's a line from the new Sabrina movie, the 1995 Sabrina movie. Yeah, as opposed to the old black and white one, where she says, you know, only in Paris, where the light is pink, does La Vie en Rose make sense. So you see the booths here that are set up for the festivals. They're not open right now. I don't know, is that the old menu or the new one?
That's old.
Nope, that's the one from the last festival.
Yeah, it's old.
Because we had the creme de brie and petit pain. Oh my gosh. Essentially it's brie in a bread bowl and it's amazing. But this is France.
Hello.
They have a Beauty and the Beast
It's so early.
topiary over there. And I love this fountain. Like I said, I love water features. And the Chefs de France, on our very first trip here, Josh and I came here on our honeymoon. We had lunch there. So our very first sit-down restaurant was Le Chefs de France. And we now Josh and I are disagreeing about it. He thinks it was where they gave us champagne, which was the 50s Primetime Diner. But see, I thought it was here and they didn't give us champagne, and that's why we were surprised that they did there. We would have thought the first place. But now I don't remember, because it was almost coming on 7 years now since we came that first time. Anyway, I like the France Pavilion. I don't have any particular connection to France because I've never been there. Josh has been. I never have been. I want to go there, obviously, because I want to hit all the Disney parks, and there's one just outside of Paris, so that'll happen maybe in the next couple of years. But I've never experienced it myself. I think I'll feel differently about this place once I do. Next to France, or the next country over, is Morocco. And fun fact, the King of Morocco sent the royal architect to help design this pavilion. And so they actually had like local help to design it. And you can tell because it has so many accents and little things that probably only an insider would know about. We've eaten at the Spice Road table. We just had like appetizers, 3 small plates that made a meal for us. It was good. We enjoyed it. There's also a restaurant back in there called Restaurant Marrakesh, which is more like your belly dancing Moroccan food sort of restaurant. There's also a number of little shops back there, although some of them are closed right now because they're very tiny. And there was a meet and greet back there as well with Jasmine. I don't know if Aladdin's ever back there, but Jasmine definitely is. And one of my videos has us going back there and I explored a little bit more, but it's not as exciting with all the shops closed. But I do think this pavilion is one of the most beautiful, particularly because the culture is so different than, you know, your France and your England and and so they're closer to our culture, whereas here they've got this beautiful tile work and the food is differently prepared than what we're used to, different kinds of spices. And over here, although it looks like it's closed right now, is the Tangerine Cafe, which is their quick service. You can get things like a shawarma platter and baklava. But I didn't realize that was closed. Good thing that we didn't. We were thinking about eating here before we got our reservation. I'm glad we didn't count on that because it looks closed. they pushed us over to the side because they're opening the gate, and a cavalcade's coming through. Oh, Snow White, I see her. And oh, Belle, Aurora, and Jasmine. And they'll just go around the World Showcase, and the music will follow them. Well, that's pretty neat. I've never seen one of them come out before. And after Morocco, you come to Japan. And again, this is another very beautiful pavilion. This is one of my favorites, if not my favorite. I just love the whole aesthetic of this, and I love the food, and I like the shop because it has a lot of Japan stuff in it. It has Mario Kart stuffed animals. It has Animal Crossing stuff. It has Japanimation stuff. It has Hello Kitty stuff.
It's got foods from Japan and snacks.
And his beautiful architecture. I like how, if you're standing in the right spot, like right now it's not that way, but if you're standing in the right spot, you can see the Spaceship Earth golf ball through the Heavenly Gate. Is that what that's called?
It's definitely a gate.
Something like that. This also has a number of restaurants. There's 2 upstairs, although only one's open now. That's the Teppan Edo. There's a really expensive one over here, like really expensive, where the plates are like $100. That is very recently opened, within the last year. And then up there, Katsura Grill is the quick service. All these people are standing in line because there's a drink station there that has a drink that I love. It's called the Tokyo Sunset or Sunrise. It's one of those, and I love that drink, but I am not planning to stand in that line for it. And they do serve it upstairs at Teppan Edo, but it's $12 as opposed to $9 here. And just on principle, I don't want to buy it up there. I can come down here and get it and bring it with me, although I'm not going to right now. So just an idea of some of the things they have here. My Hero Academia stuff, Dragon Ball Z. Gundams. I need space. And more Gundams up here. Go look at the Mario Kart area where they have all the different, excuse me, walking in front of people. But there is a place over here, well, Animal Crossing stuff. There's Tom Nook. Oh, look at that. I like that big Tom Nook.
Yeah, the big Tom Nook is actually cute.
He's cool.
Yes, he is cool. Oh my goodness.
And, oh, what's this? Oh my gosh, it's the Animal Crossing bag.
But is it actually
Loungefly? I don't know.
No,
it doesn't say it. It just has that look about it.
That is too cool.
So what I like about this over here is they have various Mario Kart stuff, like all the different power-ups, like the blue shell. Everyone loves the blue shell. And they had Goombas. They have red shells. You can see one there.
Famicom controller.
Famicom controller. Last time we were here, they had a lot more. Oh, there's the Nana. I love the Nana. Bullet Bill. So if you play Mario Kart, you'll recognize a lot of these. Oh, it's I forget what her name is from Animal Crossing.
Oh god, I just lost it.
She's the one who always, the assistant to the mayor, essentially, or in this case, the assistant to Tom Nook.
Oh, it says right next to them.
I know it's gonna drive me nuts because Josh plays this every night before bed, and why can we not remember her name?
Isabel.
Oh, Isabel. There we go. And this Pokemon stuff. Gotta catch them all. And they used to have an area over here where you could choose an oyster and find a pearl inside, and you get to keep the pearl. I mean, you had to pay for the experience. You can keep the pearl, or you could pay them to set it in like a ring or a necklace or something like that. Lots of Hello Kitty stuff. And so this is more of this part of the store is more of your popular culture stuff. And then you start getting into more traditional Japanese stuff, origami. And as you get further in, they also have things like kimonos and chopsticks. Josh, the chopstick set that we have at home, we bought here. I like that ramen shirt over there. Like kid standing in front of it that says ramen party. I think that's cool. And these are all, you know, made in Japan. Merchandise, sorry, let me finish that thought.
Fish. I like that one and the birds of pain.
Yeah, I really like the colors of those. I don't know what any of that means, but I like the way it looks.
I also got these ones too.
I love these. They're socks, but they look like sushi. And various bags. And they have umbrellas that look like samurai swords, which I think are pretty cool too. They've got the hilt of a sword. And regular parasol type umbrellas as well. And that's the outside. And those look like coin purses. Sushi master. And I like these socks that go with the traditional shoes. They have the spot in it for like, we call them flip-flops, but I don't know what the traditional term is. And then kimonos, like I mentioned. Here's what I was talking about, those kinds of shoes. And kimonos for men and women. Or whatever gender you prefer. But they have a whole room full of them over here that you can choose. Oh look, there's a ninja. But these are beautifully made. I love, again, the whole aesthetic of this. It's a wavy kitty. I love you too, wavy kitty. And then over here, some CDs. They're playing music here that sounds traditional Japanese. More sort of souvenir type stuff. But really what I'm working my way back to, our favorite part of this store is in the back section of it, where they have Japanese candies and Japanese snacks and other Japanese treats. And there's some more traditional ones. Oh, that's more sushi stuff over there, or bowls. But they have, what's that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. What does it say on the back? Usually it'll say what that is. No, not really. I don't know. Super lemon. I love haichus. And they have a lot of different flavors here. Like the banana is hard to come by. You can order it like on Amazon, but it's hard to come by. The grape and the strawberry and the mango and the green apple are not that hard to come by. But the banana is. I would normally get some, but I just had some dental work done and I don't want anything sticky right now. They also have a bunch of different Pocky? Different flavors. Chocolate banana, cookies and cream, strawberry. They have a number of gummy candies as well. So there's definitely a lot of sweets, but there's also other types of snacks, like salty snacks. Where are those? They're over here. We walk this way. Oh, there's the chopsticks. That's where we bought ours. We bought a set of them, so we had people over that needed to use them. But then they also have sriracha flavored peas, hot and spicy potato chips, shrimp crackers, wasabi flavored rice crackers, and peanuts. And we just shrimp chips. I like shrimp. I'd probably enjoy those. Pretty cool, huh? So normally we've been in the main dining room and they just kept us walking back and back and back and back, and I didn't realize there were these back rooms that they served the food in. That's pretty amazing, and they're not new. Like, these grills don't look that new, so I guess they've always been here and we just didn't know it. I just read today while we were in the park that there's a new mask rule where if you're at dinner like we are now, you have to have your mask on unless you're eating. So even like right now when we're sitting here, a lot of people come in and take their masks off, but apparently the new rule is that you have to keep your mask on unless you're actually speaking. I don't think that's as widespread yet because I'm looking at the people across the way and they haven't been served any food yet, and every single one of them has their mask off. So I think that's something that has to take time to spread around. The meal comes with a seaweed and cucumber salad. And I'm not normally a big cucumber fan, but these are pickled enough that they taste a little more like pickles than they do like cucumbers, although there's still more of a cucumber taste to them. And they have a really good crunch. And I also ordered a miso soup, which is extra on the appetizers. The miso soup is $4, but the salad comes with the dinner. And then we also ordered a diet because I could use some caffeine. And then water, of course, because nice ice cold water is always worthwhile. People across from us are having their food cooked right now. Looks like somebody got the scallops. And oh, you know what? Some of that looks like filet, so that looks pretty good. Josh and I ordered the steak and shrimp, and we both upgraded our steaks to the filet. That's a $10 upcharge on top of what the normal meal cost. The meal itself is $32, $33, 30 something. And then there's $10 for the filet. But boy, is the filet worth it because it is so good. Pretty cool. Alright, and we have a volcano! Volcano becomes a choo-choo train. One thing I love about this place is they're very accommodating. One of our people at the table didn't want vegetables, so they're making it without the vegetables. Last time we were here, there was somebody who was allergic to shellfish, and Josh and I both got shrimp, so they had to kind of cook his first before they cooked ours. So that was the same group that I was talking about earlier with the steaks. Wow. Yay! Thank you. Three. In and out. This is the hat catch. 3 and 4. Double! What a windy. 4. Last one. Oop. Appetizer. Sorry about that. They also serve white rice with your meal. That looks really good. That looks amazing. Thank you. I already ate all my shrimp. So these are the areas back here I was talking about.
The bathroom is right here.
Oh, okay, the bathroom's right around the corner. I thought there was one back here, but if you come through, we had no idea they're back here because usually
We're like here.
it's these areas in here that all have people in them right now. So, I mean, that was a total surprise to us. It was nice.
It was
It was kind of nice being out of the way. Otherwise, it gets very loud in there
Yeah.
because you have 4 tables full of people. So it was a lot quieter than it would be otherwise. We're not really going to give you a review of Teppan Edo because we automatically recommend it. We go there almost every single time we come here now because we love it so much. We didn't go for years, and then we had it one time, and
I think we did it 2 times that first time.
we did. We've had it every time since then because we love it so much. The food is great, of course, as usual. I just wanted to give you an update on the price. So we had the steak and shrimp. We upgraded the steaks to fillets. We got a soda
The miso.
and a miso soup. Altogether is about $107.
That's including tax, yes.
Yeah, that's including tax. The dinners, the combinations were $34 each, and then of course we threw in a $10 surcharge. So each was like $44
Yes.
plus the $4 for the miso soup, and then
$3
whatever
for the
the soda was, and then throw taxes and everything on top of that. It was
107 something.
107. So it's not the cheapest meal you can get here, certainly not, but oh my gosh, it is an experience. I mean, watching them do what they do.
And he was very entertaining and very
He
very
was.
good. He was good.
He
did a good
absolutely
job.
was. We've had, you know, nobody's ever been bad, but we've had good ones and better ones.
Yes. You would
Definitely.
describe that.
So yeah, it's so we recommend it. And like I said, it's kind of expensive. If you're just looking for some counter service or something, that's not the place to
There are
go.
options for that all over Epcot.
They do not take annual pass discounts because it's not owned by Disney. It's owned by a third-party company. I'm not sure who, but it's a third-party company. They don't take it for dinner, but apparently for lunch, you can use your annual pass. The lunch menu, I think, is identical to the dinner menu, so I'm not really sure what the difference is. Maybe they just are trying to entice people to come for lunch, but there's no like actual difference going lunch versus dinner. In any case, like I said, we recommend it. It's delicious. Josh recommends it too. Once you leave Japan, you come to America. Oh hey, the next American Adventure Show is, that's like 45 minutes away. It's at 6:30. They do a show that talks about different points of American history. It's actually pretty neat. I like it better than the Hall of Presidents because I feel like, well, I mean, of course, the Hall of Presidents is very singularly historical, whereas this is more like America in general historical. But again, it's that colonial look about it, and that I think sort of doubles up from the area, Liberty Square. They're going still for that colonial look, but I mean, it's nice. And they opened up a new restaurant over here, Regal Eagle Steakhouse. The Regal Eagle is Sam the Eagle from the Muppets. Although you wouldn't necessarily know it unless you looked at the sign, because the sign has his head, like a picture of his head on it. And that's why we know it's him. Oh, look at that cool ibis right there. Is that an ibis?
Whoa.
No, that's a crane of some kind. Wow. Hi, dude. He's so cool. He or she. Neat. And so, anyway, this is the America part. We've eaten here at the Regal Eagle Smokehouse, and we enjoyed it. We liked what we had. I'd like to come back here at some point again, but like I said, we've been having Teppan Edo, and we weren't here for lunchtime. We were only here for dinner. But this food is good. I recommend it. We got very lucky as we were walking through America. The Voices of Liberty, the a cappella group that sings, was out on the stage. Normally they sing in the rotunda, but of course, you know, social distancing, you don't want to gather a bunch of people together. So they are out here on the main stage, and everyone, us sitting in the audience, has to be social distance. I'll put some clips of that here.
Be our guest, put our service to the test. Tie your napkin round your neck, Sherry, and we'll provide the rest. Soup du jour, hors d'oeuvres, ravioli and too. Try the gray stuff, it's delicious. Don't believe me? Ask the dishes. They can sing, they can dance. After all, this is friends. And the dinner here is never second best. Go on and pull your menu. Take the grits and then you'll be our guest. Be our guest, be our guest. Be our guest, be our guest. Our command is our request. It's been years since we've had anybody here, and we're obsessed with your meal, with your ease. Yes, indeed, be to please. While the candlelight's still glowing, let us help you. We'll keep going. Course by course, one by one, till you shout and out I'm done. Then we'll sing you off to sleep as you rise your rest. Tonight you prop your feet up before an LNC and be our guest. Be our guest, be our guest, please be our guest. heart is in your dream. No request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star as dreamers do.
Just past America is Italy. And oh, the big towers up there. And they usually, this is like a little, when I say stage area, it's an upraised area. And they've covered it with plants or flowers. I think it's gorgeous, but it wasn't like this last time we were here. But I do like it. Otherwise, it's just sort of this big open round area with nothing in it. Normally, there's a pizzeria back there, or actually it's an Italian restaurant, not just pizzeria, called Via Napoli. And they have great pizza. And that's all we've ever had there. I understand the rest of their food is really good too. There's also Tutta Italia, which is another Italian restaurant, obviously, because we're in Italy, but it's more of upscale, whereas the pizzeria back there, the Via Napoli, is more of the casual. I mean, it's still sit-down restaurant, and it's not like counter service, and it doesn't have the counter service prices. It's definitely sit-down prices, but Tutta Italia is going to be more expensive than Via Napoli, and supposedly the quality is, you know, better. But I thought the Via Napoli was great. But I do like the Italian pavilion. There's not a lot to do here. There's eating and drinking. You can see there's a little like drink cart here. Plus there's a bar, a wine cellar attached to the Tutta Italia. And there's like a wine thing up front there too, there on the left. So there's eating and drinking here, but no shows and no rides. No rides, no shows. And there's shopping here too. There was a time when they used to throw the flags. The Italian men would come out and throw the flags, but I don't think they've done that in a few years. We decided to get some alcohol from the cart that's right, you can't tell this, but it's right in front of me right here. I got the Moscato, which is a kind of sweeter sparkling wine. Josh got the...
It's peach Bellini.
Yep, which is Prosecco and peach puree. It's not as sweet as you might think. This one definitely is a little bit sweeter. I always have these illusions. I mentioned earlier in the video, people have these shirts that are like drink around the world, and I think to myself, like, I'm such a lightweight because I'm not much of a drinker, and even though we come from you know, high altitude down here and we're supposed to be invincible, I am not much of a drinker to begin with. So if I tried to drink around the world, I'd be wasted by the third company.
I felt a beer.
Yeah, Josh had a beer earlier. Yeah, it was a fairly alcoholic beer, so I'm not going to say that it's like, beer, it wasn't like a Coors Light or something. It was, you know, kind of a heavy beer.
Proof, actually, yeah.
And so he actually felt it, and like I said, I would be trashed by the third country. And drinking usually just makes me tired, right? Like I would, and then I wouldn't be having any fun. So this is a little bit, I might have a margarita in when we get to Mexico, because I do like margaritas and I want to see what they have with the little margarita cart. But and another funny thing that happened, so the people in front of us were younger, like early 20s, maybe mid 20s, and they had their IDs in their hand. And it's so funny, like you get to a point in your life, right, where like they had their IDs out because they were probably going to be asked. It didn't even occur to me that I would be asked, right? Like I've never ever been asked for my ID here at Disney. I mean, clearly I'm more than 21 years old, but it's funny that it didn't, I didn't even think about it. Like it's been so long since it happened, it doesn't come up in my mind at all. So I don't know, does that just mean I'm well-traveled? Or what's that?
Double legal.
Yeah, I'm double legal now. I'm way more than double legal. We're walking from Italy over into Germany, and I'm afraid I have bad news. There's been an accident.
Many small deaths.
Those poor people. I mean, that is the passenger line, and it's laying on its side. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's no way there's just, you know, minor injuries there. Some of those people are definitely casualties. If you've seen a lot of my blogs before, you've seen us look at the model trains here in Germany. And I usually love watching the little trains go with their little lights on, but not right now. And there's something wrong with the townspeople. They seem completely unconcerned about the accident.
In fact, they're just standing there doing nothing.
Yeah, they're just
not moving at all.
Stuck, unmoving, unconcerned. Anyway, I love the little miniature trees and the little miniature houses. Oh, there's a gazebo back there. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. I must have. I've looked at this plenty of times in the past. And of course, there's a second level up there too. That train is still going. There's a little trolley train over there that's going back and forth. I think it just goes back and forth. That one's lit up. I know I'm making light of it, but I really hope, like, you know, a guest didn't go in there and do that. I mean, I don't think so. I'm sure you'd get kicked out of the park for good if you ever did that, but it just surprises me that they would leave it knocked over like that. But I do like the whole 2 levels where you can walk on the walkway here, like you see those people, and you can see each side of it. Anyway, I always thought miniatures were really cool. My house isn't big enough to have any miniatures, and I wouldn't want to do model trains anyway, but I like them. Another cool little detail is the smokestack is smoking. That's cute. Oh, actually, there's another little train going over here too. So the upper trains are going. It's just the lower train. Well, I mean, the lower trains would go through the tunnels there and come out in the uppers. They're just not going right now. Here's a closer look at the one that's still going. It's on its own little track. You can see that it just goes through over and over. It doesn't take any of the tunnels down. And the one up here also is on its own track. So the only ones that are going right now are on their own tracks and they're not interacting. They have little bridges to go over, and there's a little stream. More little houses. And it's that golden time of the evening where the temperature is 81 degrees, but the sun has, for the most part, set, but it hasn't gotten dark yet. And the temperature is just perfect. A little humid for us, of course, because we're from a dry climate, but the temperature is beautiful. And you can see Epcot across the lake. Well, I mean, this is all Epcot. I meant the golf ball, the big Epcot ball. But it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite parks. Absolutely gorgeous. I feel happy being here. Not just in Disney, I always feel happy being in Disney, but in particular, this park makes me feel happy. There's something about it that's cozy back in the World Showcase. And then here we are in the actual German pavilion, not just the model trains over there. Like Italy, Germany doesn't have any shows or rides. It's restaurants, shops, and drinking. But I do like the design of it in here. I like the sort of castle background there. And the clocks. I do like the clocks a lot. One of the shops in here actually sells cuckoo clocks. And there's another fountain over here, water feature. A little bit of a fountain, it just kind of pours out the sides. There's also a Christmas shop here. Oh, actually, it's over here. You can see the Christmas trees in there. And the restaurant, so there's the beer garden back there, which is an all-you-can-eat German feast. And the interior of it looks like a German town at night. And there's an Oompa band. And then there's the wine cellar, which is just, you know, if you want to go get some wines. And other drinks too, actually. And then this place here sells treats. They're known, so it's Werther's, and they're known for their caramel couche, which is a popcorn that's covered in sort of that Werther's caramel. But they also have a whole case full of treats. And I think Josh is probably in line for that because he was mentioning getting some kind of dessert. I was right, Josh was standing in that line. I mean, it's not magic. He said he was interested in it, so I went and found him in it. He ended up getting the caramel s'more, and it looks like it's covered in chocolate. There's probably caramel in there somewhere, and I guess that's
probably graham crackers on the outside.
Graham crackers and marshmallow. I mean, that would be a s'more, right? Hard to bite. It looks like it. What's it look like inside? Oh, okay. Okay, well, yeah, you can see the caramel and the marshmallow. How is
Pretty
it?
good.
Is it? Okay. That looks good. How much was it?
I think about $4.50 with before the discount.
And then we got the discount on it, so
it was under
which
$4.
I think right now is 30% off of everything.
Yeah.
So it's been worth it to buy things that we wouldn't otherwise buy because we're getting 30% off of it. Just went another shot across the water. Italy, America, Japan, Morocco, France. Yeah, and there's a hotel in the background. And there are some structures out in the water, at least there were on the other side, for their show that they're going to be doing, which I think was pushed back because of everything happening. Right now they don't have any nighttime shows. But isn't it just beautiful across the water like that? The lights on the water. I love it. We just came from Germany over there, and you walk across this area that's Africa, but like all of Africa, as if Africa is this monolithic culture that, you know, all Africans follow, as opposed to, you know, dozens or possibly hundreds of different cultures. And there's drums for like kids to beat on, not right now, but during non-pandemic time, drums for kids to beat on, shops. There is one shop open over there, but you can see there's other shops that aren't open right now. And there's also a little bridge here. I can't tell if you can tell this, but we're standing on a bridge. This raises up so that the barges can actually go out when they need to onto the water. And the next country we come to is going to be China. All right, so here's China. Well, I mean, the main pavilion's right over here. So you've got the beautiful architecture. They have a show here called Reflections of China. We've seen it a few times. I actually like it. I think it's just very old though. Like, I think it was made when China, when Epcot was first created. And I could be wrong about that, but I think it's that old, and therefore it should be very different now. There's a scene in there where they're working on computers and the computers look ancient. And so there's the Reflection of China, which is a continuously running show. And it's theater, no, I shouldn't say theater around. It's a 360-degree theater. There's a couple of restaurants in here. I'm not sure. I know the quick service is open, but I don't think Nine Dragons, which is the more expensive restaurant, I don't think that's open. They also have, well, actually over there in the back, they have Chinese goods, like a whole shop of them, similar to the Japanese one that we went through, but it's different goods from China. And over here, there's a booth that sells tea. This one's here all the time, so it's not one of the festival booths. It sells different kinds of tea, and there's alcoholic versions over there too. And then there's a shop over here that sells probably a lot of the same stuff that you can get in the big one, but it's more along the beaten path, so people can get something quick. I want to check out some of the items that they sell here.
For the health and safety of everyone, face coverings must fully cover
Hats. Somewhere there's a picture of me in one of these. Somewhere on Facebook, probably. Shirts. Jewelry. Huh. This actually reminds me of whenever we're in New York and we go to Chinatown. It actually has that feel about it. Squishy fun. Oh, look, chopsticks for kids, like training chopsticks. That's pretty cool.
Taro flavor.
Wow,
The bulbous I like?
Yeah, taro flavored Lays. Or taro flavored. Grilled squid flavor.
Grilled pork.
Grilled pork flavor. They've got, well, looks kind of like mochi. Yeah, Japanese mochi. Volcano popping candy. Probably like Pop Rocks. Grilled squid flavor, interesting. And strawberry bear cookies. What's this? Creamy candy, white rabbit. I bet I would like that. And after China, we come to Norway. Norway does have a ride. It's the Frozen Ever After ride. If you've seen some of my other videos, I've videotaped a number of that. Filmed videotape. It's all digital now. And they have a Kringla bakery over here that serves one of the most delicious desserts I've had here, which is called school bread. It's sort of a peppery bread that has like a vanilla kind of cream sauce in it. Vanilla cream in it. I'm not doing it justice by the description, but it is pretty good. We used to get it fairly often when we were here, but nowadays we like to try different desserts so we don't always get the same thing. There's the Frozen ride. It's all the way in the back here. It used to be a ride called Maelstrom, which was more about the like folklore. There were trolls in it, for example. But then Frozen became super popular, and that was a way to...
I heard you're from Colorado.
We are from Colorado. I don't know who Josh is talking to, but I'm gonna go find out. They called over because the person who was there lived in Colorado Springs for a couple of years. That's where I grew up, was in Colorado Springs. There's also a staved church here, which is a replica, obviously, but oh wow, I think it's beautiful. Especially those sort of designs on the side, like at the top there. But yeah, the Norway Pavilion's really nice. There's food here that I like, and I like the ride too. Like, I'm not the biggest Frozen fan. Honestly, I'm not. It's fine, but the ride is actually a lot of fun. And here we enter Mexico, the last country if you work your way around here, or the first country if you come this way. There's La Hacienda de San Angel there, which is sort of the more expensive restaurant. And then most of the Mexico Pavilion is inside this step pyramid here. I mean, there's a show building back there. It's not right in there. But there's a line to get in, a pretty long line too. There is a ride in there based on the Three Caballeros. It's the Grand Fiesta Tour. You can see it in that sign. We do enjoy that ride. And there's a quick service Mexican food around here. Inside the shopping, Mexican goods, of course, and there is another restaurant in there, the sort of the medium restaurant. There's usually a counter service, a medium, and an expensive restaurant in most of the pavilions, and the one inside is more of the medium one. There's also a like tequila bar, margarita and tequila bar, and I might get a margarita. I just can't really read them from here. So I'm gonna get in line until I can actually read one. I've mentioned before about how drinking around the world would not work for me, but one of the other reasons is I never put it together in the video, but I've talked about how expensive drinking is at Disney. So let's say you have a drink and the drink is $13 to $15 and you do 11 countries. Not only will you be drunk, but you'll be broke too. So yeah, I mean, that's not that much, but you know, for a day of drinking, 150 bucks, that's something. It's not nothing, you know, but you're on vacation, so, and you know, by the time you get to the end, you may not care because you're so wasted. I have learned something about myself today. I have learned that I won't wait in line for most rides for 20 minutes, but I will wait in line for a margarita for 20 minutes, apparently. I did not know that about myself, but here we are. We did indeed get margaritas from the margarita stand. I actually don't think I've ever gotten anything there before as much as like margaritas. So we got a few things. I got the smoky pineapple with like a spicy rim. And that sounds amazing. Josh, so they have 3 flavors of frozen margaritas that are in like little Slurpee machines. There's a mango, which I'm sure I would have enjoyed as well because I like mango margaritas a lot. And but I didn't feel like a frozen one. And there's traditional lime and there's strawberry. So Josh got a mixture of strawberry and lime. You can get a mixture of all 3 of them if you want to. We saw a lot of people do that. It's actually on the menu as mixture. And then we also got esquites, I think is what it was called. Esquites? Probably esquites. It's corn, like cotija cheese? Cotija cheese? Ugh, I'm so bad. Anyway, it's corn with a little bit of sweetness on it, some cheese. And I've had this before when I was in New York. My boss and one of my coworkers, we all went out for at this more of a traditional Mexican place, and they had this, and I remember really enjoying it, but I've never had it here. So we're gonna give this all a go. This was all
About $35.
about $35 for the food and the 2 drinks. Last view of the night is overlooking the World Showcase in Epcot. We're on our way out. It's been a great day. Started in Hollywood Studios, ended in Epcot. We did everything we wanted to do in the Disney part of this trip. Tomorrow will be a Universal day, so we'll be going away from Disney, and we fly back home tomorrow night. It's a whirlwind trip in and out. Oh look, there's a friendship boat going across. If you don't want to walk the full way, there's a boat that'll take you from sort of the front to Morocco, and there's also one that would take you to Germany, although I don't think I've ever seen that one going. But we're back around here to Canada. England's right there, and then we will head to the Skyliner and head home. Thank you for joining us. As you know, just looking over this view makes me happy. I'm glad to share it with you.